Emma Woolf is here. Very good morning to you, Emma.
Or dance in the aisles. I mean, I've been on a high. I have been on a high since Tuesday night, Wednesday morning.
Hasn't it been amazing?
I never doubted Trump for a second.
I didn't. But also,
I knew he could do it.
But what I didn't know would happen, and we spent a lot of time on this yesterday, and we may do a bit more of it today, the sort of lefty meltdown has been quite spectacular.
It's been a joy.
You know, Rory Stewart, I was wrong. Brilliant.
I was wrong.
You know,
really?
Alistair Campbell's face, you know, Emily Maitlis, you know. As I was saying yesterday, I thought about doing one of those, I don't know if you might not remember this, but from the world of football, there was, when Norway beat England once, there was this Norwegian commentator who just reeled off a list of English people's names. And, you know, it was just like Maggie Thatcher, you know, Hugh Grant, you know, you guys took one hell of a beat. I was going to do that. It was like Beyonce, you know, Lady Gaga, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton. You guys took one hell of a beating. They got it all completely wrong, didn't they?
They did, and they cannot cope with it. There are women literally shaving their heads in distress, in despair.
Right.
And yet, Mike, we've had so many, you know, really quite dangerous leaders elected, and the liberal lefties haven't
They've had
shed
nothing
a
to
tear.
say.
They've had nothing to say. They don't give a damn about Putin or anyone like that.
And they also didn't care about, you know, Justin Trudeau locking people up and you know, putting people in prison.
They weren't politically engaged then.
Because they met for a sandwich sometime during COVID. They didn't have a go at Emmanuel Macron for allowing all these illegal immigrants to come to Britain. They didn't care about Angela Merkel, who welcomed in 1 million refugees from Syria. You know, that was all fine.
It's the outrage. It's the outrage that anybody could defy their entire agenda, their entire woke agenda, and the sort of this disbelief that they could be wrong, that other people get a vote too. That's how democracy works.
Stupid people, mind you.
Stupid people.
Because they've gone all Brexit on it, haven't they? They've gone all Brexit on it. They've gone, well, the reason that you voted for Brexit is because you didn't understand what you were voting for. You were too stupid.
Ill-educated.
Not educated enough.
Working class.
And in fact, working class, and really, you don't know anything at all. You're ignorant.
They just need to understand that actually this is how democracy works, and that everybody gets a vote, and there is a reckoning. And I only wish ours was every 4 years as well.
Wouldn't that be great?
Wouldn't it be great? I was thinking about if only ours was if only we had another election in 2028, because OK, we've taken the focus off our dreadful government at the moment with all the excitement across the pond, but I mean, we're still stuck with Labour. We still come back to that. It's depressing, isn't it? Seeing Rayner speaking to JD Vance. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about that conversation, but these kind of painful conversations. But the thing is, we've got Lammy, we've got Starmer, we've got Rayner. This is our lot.
Well,
I mean, they're so glorious looking at the the Trump lineup. Even his son, his 18-year-old son, Mike, is like 7 foot tall.
Yeah, I know.
As a proper man.
Speaks properly.
As a proper man.
Speaks well.
Yes.
Let's have a look at Angela Rayner. This is what she said about Donald Trump in 2020.
Donald Trump is killing, you know, thousands of Americans by giving them duff advice, and his macho, I'm all right, you know, look at me, I've survived COVID. He's an absolute buffoon. He has no place in the White House. He's an embarrassment, and he should be ashamed of himself.
Yeah, no place in the White House. He's an embarrassment. She's an embarrassment, is what I would say.
Absolute embarrassment.
You know, woman who doesn't buy her own clothes manages to buy clothes paid for by somebody else which don't fit her.
And the rest of the cabinet. I mean, as for what David Lammy said as the Foreign Secretary, that is an embarrassment. As for what Starmer has said, it's an embarrassment. And so, you know, they need to be diplomatic and think about, you know, the fact that they need to. I thought the special relationship mattered, and clearly they have no idea of what they're doing. No,
they really don't. Donald Trump, meanwhile, has appointed the first ever woman.
Yes.
You know, we keep hearing that,
the famous misogynist.
Women hate him. Yeah. He's a misogynist. You know, he hates women. He's declared war on women. I mean, we heard all through the day yesterday from various people on the BBC talking about, you know, it's bad news for women, you know, because he really doesn't like them. Well, how come the first ever woman chief of staff in the White House has just been appointed by Donald Trump?
Many women are very, very happy about this. And guess what? Millions of women voted for him.
Yeah.
Same way that he's such a racist, and actually millions of Latinos voted. I mean, he's just...
It is ridiculous, isn't it? Absolutely mad. And as I say, the other story which sort of tickled me last night, I saw it late last night, a load of women now apparently in America threatening not to have sex with their partners in some kind of weird protest. I mean, what's that all about?
So they're following this Korean model where you withdraw sex, apparently, after an election when you protest it, but it's absolutely hilarious. I can only think of their partners or their potential partners being hugely relieved about this. They're deciding that they're going to delete, they're telling women to delete their dating apps, no sex, no children, exercise sovereignty over your bodies.
Right.
I mean, it's absolutely ludicrous.
It is mad, isn't it? Completely mad.
I don't think they're going to be... I don't think many men are going to be bothering
There might be some men who are more than happy with this particular situation.
Yes,
Going, thank God for that. I can go and have sex with somebody else then.
Who isn't
But there's a video which we'll dig out and play later on, which was running on the Telegraph website the other day, and it was this woman presumably in Florida saying, you know, good luck getting laid in Miami. Like... Well, I don't think anybody's ever had any trouble getting laid in Miami, actually, darling. But that's that's why people go to Miami.
But there are genuine people, Mike, all around the world, but in this country, and I can think of a few, and I'm not going to name them, who are saying, you know, I don't know anyone who supported Trump. I don't know any right-minded, nice people.
David Yellen, the former editor of The Sun, right, who's gone
you
completely...
attacked him on Twitter.
Yeah, well,
it's
bizarre.
Such a
want to say
to people like that,
right? This is a guy who ran one of the most successful tabloid newspapers in the world, right? He's now gone sort of full, you know, reverse ferret and decided that he no longer likes tabloids. He no longer likes, you know, this organisation, and he wants to attack everybody at every single moment, trying to make out that he's the most woke guy around. I mean, a complete no mark, basically. He was a pretty bad editor, not a very good journalist, and now he's trying to sort of attacks everybody all the time, saying, I don't know anyone that I love or like or even know a little bit who ever voted for Trump or likes him.
But how can anybody not know someone? I mean, he's clearly, as you say, he's gone so far down the rabbit hole the other way. But it just doesn't even make sense that you could not know someone who's voted for something you don't agree with.
I know.
Someone you don't agree with. I mean, I am, you know, really, really repelled by the whole Labour agenda at the moment, but I still know people who voted Labour. I can still have conversations
and you know
with
people who probably still think they're doing quite a good job, because I meet them.
They're wrong.
You know, they're wrong.
Fine.
And I say, are you absolutely joking?
Insane, and you are responsible and all of that.
All of that.
But you can still like them and know them and have them in your life. It's very, very odd, this complete refusal to respect the votes of people who voted for Trump.
Yes. And I mean, to be fair to Joe Biden, and I'm not usually, you know, he made a very good speech yesterday, very conciliatory. He said he said all the right things. He said, look, you know, we're going to have a peaceful transition of power.
He seems quite chipper.
Yeah, he was very chipper. Well, you know why? Because people say that actually he deliberately kiboshed Kamala Harris's attempt to get into power, because he never wanted to step down.
No.
The narrative goes like this. There are now people in the Democratic Party tearing each other's hair apart, you know, because they want to blame either him, some of them want to blame George Clooney, bizarrely. Some of them want to blame Kamala Harris, some of them want to blame Nancy Pelosi.
The lesson of the story, don't rely on millionaire celebrities to try and get yourself across the line. Right. Don't do that.
But so Biden, for all of his faults, you know, he probably knew that he was not capable of running as president, but to now sort of turn on him and blame him for not stepping down, when the same Democrats probably were the ones defending him, saying, oh no, he's fine, absolutely fine.
Just wheeling him around, going, it's fine, it's all
fine. Now they're going, oh, he should have stepped down during the midterms. You know, well, sorry, that's not what you said then.
He does seem to have a spring in his step. I think now he doesn't feel quite so responsible for it all. He doesn't have to take the defeat. But I was expecting maybe Kamala would come out with some kind of dignified speech, and it was actually worse than I'd expected. I mean, she literally makes no sense. Because it's only when it's dark outside that you can see the stars, remember?
See the stars,
and the stars are still there.
And let's look up and create the light of hope.
I mean, it was a confirmation of why she lost.
Yeah.
And Trump won and she lost. Like, it's both. It's on both sides.
But he won huge as well, or bigly, as he would say. I mean, he literally swept the board, you know. It looks like he's going to get the House of Representatives as well as the Senate, so he will be able to do whatever the hell he likes.
I do think it's really important that there hasn't been this days and days of people saying he stole the election. You know, that there is none of that. That it was absolutely clear by about 3 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and there's nothing they can say. They can shave their heads, but there's nothing that the lefties can say about that.
And I mean, all of these celebs who are talking about leaving the country, and I mean, nobody cares. It's like, you know...
And they don't.
I mean, oh my God, Beyonce's going to leave America, or J-Lo's going to leave America, Robert De Niro's going to leave America. OK, then.
Fine.
So what?
See ya.
Bye. Come to London and see how you like...
on your way out.
Come to London, see how you like the taxes. You'll soon be going back. I can tell you that for a start. Also, let's talk about the main story on a lot of the front pages. William, of course, has been giving interviews. Emotional Prince speaking candidly about the hardest year of his life after his wife and father's cancer battles. It's been brutal for us all. On the front page of the Daily Mail, front page of the Sun as well. Hardest year of my life.
Times.
I think this has done an awful lot of good. By the way, for people suffering from cancer or from people who've got family members suffering. And I think to see William talking like this is a good thing, isn't it?
I do. I agree with you. I think it's a good thing. I think it's made it more normal. I think it's made it more real. These aren't people who are completely untouchable. Cancer can affect anyone. It's a cliche to say it, but it's absolutely can affect anyone and does affect anyone. And, you know, you couldn't be more wealthy and, you know, living a life of luxury than these two, the king and the sort of future queen, and they are absolutely, they've gone through the mill. And I also think it's important that William is talking about this and using kind of just being truthful and saying it's been awful, it's been brutal. I was thinking a lot of people have said 2024 has been an absolute pig of a year.
Yeah,
a real pig of a year. It doesn't seem to have been...
For an awful lot of people, it's not been great, has it?
No, I just think we really... And we're trapped under this German Dunkelflaut.
Yes, Dunkelflaut. This is a new word, apparently. This has come out... well, it's not a new word, but it's a German word. It means a sort of, you know, general gloomy outpouring. It's lovely German, because they have an awful lot of words which are very specific, which can't really be translated into one word. They do, they do. So they have Schadenfreude, which we all know really well, you know, the joy in other people's... discomfort. Yeah, discomfort or whatever. So Dunkelflaut means dark doldrums. Basically, it's this... And I was saying to my 4-year-old yesterday, I was saying, I don't know what it is. He said, why is it not getting bright? And I said, there's something, there's like a fog. Yesterday was a weird day, wasn't it? And the day before as well, and it was just white and sort of the sky at the moment. It's got this mist and fog. Yeah, and it's damp. And nothing can break through. And it's damp. And it's damp. And you see, the streets are wet, but it's not raining. And you're going, why are the streets wet? It's kind of dank. Yeah. It's very odd. And anyway, in Scotland, they have a word called dreich. Dreich, which is very similar to sort of this one. And I love that Germans have... It literally describes this weird heaviness. Yes, and maybe it's more than just the weather. Maybe it's just sort of the state of things. But that's why I think yesterday we took call after call after call of people saying, this is the first time I've been happy since Brexit in 2019. People were really uplifted by Trump getting elected because they feel that there's hope left in the world. Yes, and it really, same here, it really boosted my spirits. I mean, Kemi getting, again, I called it right, ha ha ha. No, Kemi being elected gave me a little boost, but then Trump getting elected gave so much. So many people gave them belief that actually, in the end, common sense will prevail. Yes. And that the regular folk, the nutters, will not win. The nutters cannot win. No. And this thing about putting women's sanitary products in men's bathrooms. This is irrelevant, you know. Tim Waltz was in tears, apparently, when he lost. I mean, that pretty much says it all, right? Yeah. Let's have a look at Jimmy Kimmel. For those of you who don't know, he's a sort of talk show host in America. Gets paid multi-million, hundreds of dollars, millions of dollars every single year, right? This is a guy who has got no worries at all. He's never going to be short of a sandwich for his picnic. But have a look at this.
Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare, for our climate, for science, for journalism, for justice, for free speech. It was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO, for the truth and democracy and decency. And it was a terrible night for everyone who voted against him. And guess what? It was a bad night for everyone who voted for him, too. You just don't realize it yet.
I mean, terrible night for democracy, says Jimmy Kimmel, the multi-millionaire, talks about poor people, doesn't even see them as he steps over them to get into his limousine to go home to his multi-million-dollar apartment, right? The idea that it's a bad night for democracy when people have actually voted for somebody who's popular is quite ironic, isn't it? It's so ironic. I mean, where do you even start with this? Yeah. The fact that he starts by saying it was a bad night for women. Yeah. He's telling us that. Yes. And we're women. Yeah. It was a bad night for women. Bad night for hard-working immigrants. For children. What about a bad night for the 20 million illegal immigrants who have taken over the Midwest of America and are killing cats and dogs? Who gets to decide? Bad night for them. What was he saying? It's a bad night. This is what democracy is. And then he tears up. He tears up and stops and thinks, oh, because I care so much about you all. He doesn't care. Of course he doesn't care. Give a toss about anybody. Give a damn about working people. You don't get to do a talk show on American television, network TV, without being a complete and utter swine. Yes, absolutely. Anyway.